This week's podcast is brought to you by Avast, a global leader in digital security and family safety solutions for network operators and their customers. Consumers are more connected than ever. Over 66% of North American households now have at least one Internet of Things device. But whether they're using a doorbell camera, online fridge, voice-activated assistant, or even just a mobile phone and laptop, each device further exposes them to attacks on their digital security and privacy. Avast's advanced AI-driven security can be deployed at the device, router, or 5G network level to provide a comprehensive and fully converged solution powered by the world's largest consumer threat detection network. Their award-winning security solutions make it easy for consumers to manage their digital life security using just one simple interface, no matter how many devices they use. That's smart. Let Avast help you build a safer digital home for your customers. Discover more at avast.com/partners. That's avast.com/partners. Welcome to the Light Reading Podcast. Today's episode is a sponsored podcast. This is Phil Harvey. I'm an editor here at Light Reading, and I am joined on this podcast by Sean Obrey. He is the global head of sales for the Family and IoT business unit at Avast. What does Avast do for service providers? How does having both network security solutions and endpoint security help network operators keep their customers safe and also give them a chance to offer products that set them apart in the market? We will answer those questions. On this episode, we will discuss security, value-added services, and much, much more. And we will do this right after the break. We're here today with Sean Obrey from Avast, and the last time we discussed how Avast is keeping consumers safe and what consumers should sort of worry about is in terms of cybersecurity when 5G networks and 5G devices become the norm. So if you're listening to this for the first time, please go back and listen to that episode because we covered some really, I think, pertinent and interesting topics as related to cybersecurity and 5G. But this time, Sean, I wanted to talk about Avast and what it does for service providers. Do you have maybe an example of how Avast has worked with a service provider customer? Maybe give us an idea of like what you do for them and maybe what problems you help them solve.
Hello, Phil. Good to talk with you again, and thanks for that intro. And sure, we can talk about that. So, at Avast, we partner with a multitude of tier one operators globally, and we really see these as partnerships. It's really kind of important to understand that once you're working with a partner, that they really have kind of the future in mind, and they're supportive. Those are the things that we kind of like pride ourselves on in our arrangements with our ISP partners. So we usually start a partnership like we have over the last 10, 15 years in North America with one solution set that the partner needed. For example, when we started working with the operators in North America, we did a lot of work in call and text limits. That led to, with the data evolution, to data limits. And then, when you had the data and the connected devices in the phone, you were able to do a lot more services and the operators wanted them. So we evolved our solutions into location-based services. And then later on, content and access control types of solutions to help them, as requested by the operators, products for parental controls. And you really want to be looking for a service provider or a partner in the service provider space that will really kind of be able to evolve with you, have a roadmap of solutions, and be able to future-proof any value-added service you want to take to the market. At the same time, you want to look at the partner as do they have the proudness to help you grow the business as you evolve your solutions to meet your customers' needs? And at Avast, being the largest consumer cybersecurity company in the world, we're doing that basically as a direct consumer online business. It's exactly the same channel that operators have to their end customers. So we are very, very good at getting folks to be attracted to our solutions, download them, install them, and use them, and then use that as a platform to offer them other solutions to be able to enrich their cybersecurity protection on their devices. And we can obviously then do the same thing for an operator and give them that, powerhouse of solutions that we do in a consultative marketing way, so that then they're able to also drive their business. And we have a lot of case studies that show that exact thing coming true in the market with our partners, and that attracts them to do more business with them. So it's a cycle of using a lot of good marketing and innovation to drive good solutions into the market.
Okay, that makes sense. And I note that there's that the approach is also a unique one in that you're not only getting to consumers from the consumer side. They're downloading uh, web browser. I think you have a, a mobile browser
Mm-hmm.
that keeps people secure, but they're also could possibly be getting protection from malware and things like that from the network side that they might not even be aware of. So there's this
Correct.
really interesting sort of symbiosis between the consumer and the network-based business that keeps people protected, even sometimes in ways they're aware of and sometimes in ways they're not. But I wanted to kind of just do a quick follow up on this idea of evolving the business. This is a very interesting point you make from when you are working with a provider, a service provider to do things like call and text limits. So that's just basic, filtering based on a customer's uh, rate plan, I guess.
Correct. Or
Um,
preferences. Yeah.
yeah, you can evolve that into doing the same thing on the data side, and then down the road, the same thing for or a similar type thing for content access and content, I guess, filtering. That's a very interesting evolution because it shows like how the as the uh, mobile business got more and more data centric and more sophisticated, they didn't have to toss you guys out and bring somebody else in. You were able to stay with them and evolve that business the whole time. And maybe you could give us a bit of how that happens, or what is it about Avast that that allowed you to keep up?
Yeah. I mean, it's purely listening to your customers' needs and innovation. So all those operators have customers asking them for help. Then they in turn work with a vendor such as ourselves to be able to develop those solutions to help them. But if you then, as a company, take a focused stance on where your expertise is, and then create solutions around that, you're able to meet those needs, and at the same time look to the future. And it's kind of the exact same thing that's going on right now. If you look from going from call and text limits all the way to one of the best parental control solutions on the market. If you look at the security, it's going through a lot of different changes and trends now too. So before, we used to create an agent that went on a device, and then you would get a CD once a week, and you'd update your virus definitions. And that's now evolved to the fact that as these networks and the types of connections that are taking place have changed, you need to be able to evolve your security solutions to meet the devices and the way they're connecting. So we went to the broadband phase, and now we've got the mobile broadband phase, and next we'll have 5G phase. It's a You have to stay up on exactly how your customers are using device, connecting to the internet, and then at the same time be able to handle this nowadays the speeds in which they're connecting to the internet. So it's exactly the same thing. If you think about going from data limits to parental controls, you now think about device security, all the way up to basically being able to do security inside networks for individual devices. It's a huge evolution.
Yeah, and then not to just so it doesn't go unmentioned, because that's a part of your business as well. But that once you start talking about protecting consumers in their homes, then you have to talk about IoT and all the devices that are connecting inside the home network,
Exactly.
desktops and so on.
And that's going through an interesting evolution, as we say too. 5G affecting it pretty much the same way. So you have devices connecting to a router that have never been seen before and don't have the intelligence to be able to have a protection service installed on those devices. They're being not built with security in mind, so you have a lot of vulnerabilities that can be exploited, and you need to protect them. Today, we can do that on the router using AI-based technology. But tomorrow, when routers become a little bit more than just 5G antennas themselves, and everybody's connecting to 5G networks wherever they possibly can, and you're no longer going through the router, you'll need to evolve those solutions towards that type of network topology. And again, if you're an operator, you need to be thinking about partnering with somebody who's taking all of those trends in mind today.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point, because one of the things that it seems like, um, it seems like, especially when we're looking at things like home network and consumer devices, there are different single product solutions and single device solutions that sound amazing, but the problem becomes for the operator. I mean, it's great for the consumer because if that's going to be the thing they use, then they'll be fine. But for the operator, it's like, yeah, but I don't have that same level, that high level of security on every other device that touches the network in the same home or uh, registered to the same consumer, that sort of thing. So it really does become um, a push and pull of having both the device approach and the network approach.
Yeah, and I think that the speeds of 5G and the speeds that the devices want to be able to be interacting with the internet is going to be a big challenge for the evolution of technology too. As you look at current solutions that came out to protect customers using things like deep packet inspection or DPI, also there's a huge evolution change there around personal identity and its protection. Also, those solutions cannot scale the same way that the speed that the networks are now being able to help devices connect to them. At the same time, you have the issue with the way in which connect the actual protocols by which devices are connecting to the networks changing too. Everybody used to use DNS based services with open URLs, and now encryption's come into the game. So now you have DNS over HTTPS, DNS over TLS, deep packet inspection being the only way to break those things open. And it's really impeding the traffic flow when you're using those type of technologies. So if your technology can't keep up with the devices in terms of how you can protect them, you're going to be seen as somebody who slows down somebody's internet. So you have to come up with new and inventive ways. And at Avast, we're using AI to be able to do that, to conquer those issues so that the customers can still connect it at the speeds they wish and at the same time be protected.
Is there a kind of bringing it back around to the carrier relationship example? Is there an example of a carrier that you've worked with that may have been using mostly deep packet inspection um, or other methods to sort of do security where you maybe help them enhance their approach?
Yeah, sure. So that is the trend at the moment. You're seeing that anybody that had been previously just giving DNS filtering out or doing only DPI, even in the network, those solutions are becoming antiquated and extremely costly to scale. So we have been working with operators to replace those types of solutions. We have one operator in Europe that has now put a total AI-based converged solution in place where they're able to, via the router, protect all the devices in the home. But the problem with protecting all the devices in the home, especially the smart devices, once they leave the home, unless there's a solution on board that device, then they are just as vulnerable. So we have a holistic solution that allows those devices to be connected back through, when they connect back through the internet through a thing called a VPN loopback. We're able to then extend the policies and protection onto those devices as they leave the Wi-Fi radio. So this operator in mind was really forward thinking, wanted to put that in place. And now, no matter where their customers are connected to, public Wi-Fi, their own network, another network, or back at home, they're protected by the same policies and protection levels they have set for all their devices, extended through to parental control. So that's a truly converged offering. Those are the solutions that operators need to be looking for in the future.
Yeah, that is an actually a tempting offering from my point
Yeah.
of view. So you're telling me if I set a policy on my kid's uh, portable gaming device or tablet, and I say,
Yeah.
okay, this is the level of gory violence I will allow you to have at certain
Yeah.
video games. He leaves the house, the home network. He's over at his friend's house or somewhere else.
Public Wi-Fi.
Yeah, public Wi-Fi especially. This policy doesn't stop at my front door. Somehow you're able to extend that policy even on the operator's network outside of the walls of my house.
Correct. And that's the key. So there's a lot of solutions out there that can be part of the puzzle, but there's very few vendors who have the complete IP range between protecting all the devices in the home, protecting them from any type of attack, monitoring their behavior and making sure that they stay normal and good. And then if you have a smart device and it goes outside of the home where that protection is being delivered through the router, you can continue to be feel secure that those devices and the people using them have the same level of protection. And there's not very many operator or vendors that can do that today.
Yeah, no, there really isn't. And for operators, what an amazing chance to stand out from the crowd. You know, you're always wanting to be more than just a commodity bandwidth provider. Well, now you could be offering this as a value add service that is not only a sticky service, but something that travels with the customer everywhere they go. That's a pretty seems like a pretty attractive thing. And like I said, if you're in the, as I am, as a lot of parents are, if you're in the business of keeping your video game violence to just a reasonable amount of bloodshed, then this is something maybe to look into.
Exactly. And then if we loop back to the beginning of our conversation about what makes a good partner for an operator, you want to have somebody that's okay thinking about how we do that today, but also how to do that tomorrow. And strangely enough, it's actually, if you have the right technology, it'll be easier to do it tomorrow for a network operator to partner with somebody like Avast in a 5G network. As soon as we can, well, actually, we've already done it, turned the protection into a virtual network function. That means that when the networks become completely software defined, we're able to identify and protect any device and put those IoT devices are connecting directly to a 5G network into a security profile, but also that those smart devices, we can put those profiles in the network for that device. No matter where they're at, we'll be able to protect them.
That sounds great. Okay, well, we will leave it there for now. And thank you for your time and insights today, Sean Obrey from Avast. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, Phil. Thank you very much.
I want to thank Avast for sponsoring this week's podcast. Avast's award-winning security solutions make it easy for your customers to stay safe online using just one simple interface, no matter how many devices they use, wherever they go, and however they connect. Let Avast help you build a safer digital world for your customers. Learn more at avast.com/partners. That's avast.com/partners. That is it. That is our show. Thanks very much to Sean Obrey for his time and insights today. Thanks to our producer, Tien Fu, because if it were not for him, you would not be hearing any of this. Thanks to you, dear listener, because if you weren't paying attention, we wouldn't be able to get away with doing all of this at work. And please do tell a friend to subscribe. And thanks for listening to this special edition Light Reading sponsored podcast.